take a little bit of an unusual step today and do the J1Q as the episode. Because I was going to do an episode on this anyway, but then, well, you'll see. Good morning to you. Good Tuesday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Penguins. It comes your way bright and early every weekday if you're into football and or baseball. I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Pirates in the same place that you found this. Jason Kemmerling writes and says, "Hey DK, I was wondering if you could do a daily shot episode about your opinion on the Sidney Crosby contract situation, if you even think it's considered a situation, what you think is best for the franchise and what you think the end result will be. My personal opinion," this is still Jason, "is that having Sid remain in Pittsburgh is the most important thing overall. I couldn't stomach him in another team's jersey, and I honestly think he has nothing more to prove because he's done it all. I think anyone that's writing or talking about Sid leaving is just trying to cook up a story. Anyways, I could go on for days about this. Thanks, DK. Great stuff as always." Thank you, Jason. That's very kind. Are you ready for the shortest episode of Daily Shot of Penguins ever? I mean, listen, I've talked about this. I've written about this, but there's never really much that you can expound upon because it's such a spectacular non-issue. Sid's not leaving Pittsburgh. This is the repeat of a repeat of a repeat of a repeat. All that's happening right now, and I mentioned this on yesterday's show as well, is that people in Canada, specifically around Toronto, are bored. They're bored. This is a bad time of year in general to be a hockey fan. The Stanley Cup final just ended. The NHL draft just ended. NHL free agency opened and for all intents and purposes closed. And oh no, now what? Well, what they do in Canada, and this began a long time ago with the Sun tabloids that were really spread all across the country. I don't even know if there's one of them left anymore, maybe Toronto's. And all they do is just rumor monger. It's unlike anything that you'll see in North American sports media. And remember that I also cover the Steelers and the Pirates, so the NFL and Major League Baseball. There's nothing like it. They will just say stuff and everyone will go feasting on it. And it's just, this isn't even necessarily a criticism. It's part of their sporting culture. It's what they do. There's rumors. And you will not find anything approximate to that in any of the other leagues, including the leagues that have Canadian teams in them. It's wild. Now, I say this, and I actually have no idea what you're talking about because I've been immersed in baseball over the past few days, and I certainly haven't been checking out the Toronto Post or whatever to find out what somebody's making up there. If it's about Sid, I definitely don't care because, wow, everyone, but especially in his home and native land, should have learned how to show him a little bit more respect at this stage of his career with all that he's done for his country. But I guess that's not the case. That's only the case for Gretzky up there forever and ever and ever.
This episode is brought to you by Bet Online, your number one source for all your summer sports needs this season, from Major League Baseball, golf, NHL, NBA playoffs. Get the latest odds and lines, including all team matchups, player props, odds on just about everything that's out there. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Bet Online, where the game starts.
I honestly, Jason, I don't even know how to fill the remainder of the time on the opening segment on this. Sid's not leaving Pittsburgh. Sid's going to sign a 3-year contract. I've been saying that all along. It's going to be somewhere in the range of around probably a 10 million AAV, maybe a little lower. Maybe he'll do the 8.7 thing again, as superstitious as he is. I don't know, but he's not going anywhere. He does want Kyle Dubas to do his best to put a competitive team around him. I think that's a pretty fair request to make, given who he is and everything that he's done for this franchise and for this city. But there's no one, including Sid himself, who's going to blow up this process. Sid knows the roster he had at the end of this past season. Dubas knows the roster. Sid knows the constraints that are on the GM. Sid now has seen that the Jake Gensel trade wasn't the catastrophe that Sid, and by the way, I thought it was at the time. So they're talking about it, they're discussing it, they're seeing each other face to face up in Cranberry because Sid's been skating up there. And sooner rather than later, the contract's going to get announced. Sid's going to do a press conference. I always was going to be a Penguin for life and blah, 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 blah. And there it is, Jason, the most boring segment of Daily Shot of Penguins in this show's history. But you asked, and you weren't alone, by the way. When we come back, J1Q. Since we already had a J1Q come from a listener, I'm going to do a J1Q here myself, meaning from me to you. Why is it, and this is, again, to stress this, so much more prevalent in hockey from a fandom standpoint than in other sports, why is it that hockey fans will never recognize a reporter who's just plain old making stuff up, who's just pulling things out of thin air? And I'm not even talking about like hearing from a source who's wrong or whatever, but just flagrantly and obviously concocting things to fill print space or to fill, whatever spoken air time on a radio show or a podcast or whatever. Why is it that even when it gets conclusively proven that this individual or that individual, believe it or not, I'm not picking on anybody here, like an actual person, okay? But hockey fans they'll just completely blot it out. Like they'll just totally not even try to recollect that, wow, wasn't this the guy who said so-and-so and so-and-so? And then it was proven 100% that was just fiction. If you do that, and again, I'm going to stress that I've covered not only the NHL, but also the NFL and Major League Baseball, as well as other sports and 5 Olympics. And I've dealt with all different types of media and media environments as it relates to fans. There's nothing like hockey with this stuff. And I don't accept that it's just because Canadians love their rumors. There's got to be something more to it. There's got to be something to this culture of anybody can write or say whatever it is that they want with complete impunity. You do that stuff in football, they will fry you alive. And they will brand you. You were the guy who said 8 years ago that the Ravens were going to do such and such and such. It's not quite as drastic in Major League Baseball, but it's not all that different. Tough environment. And yet in hockey, it's like everything that everybody says, including hockey with 2 Y's, insider with 4 R's, says stuff, and everyone just goes, ooh, I'm hearing this. The Leafs are after ... Why? The sport's not that boring. The games are really entertaining. The Stanley Cup final we just had was just wonderful by the time it ended anyway. And yet hockey fans seem to want to be entertained with this kind of just complete crap more than any other fan. I'm asking you, someone, Explain that to me in whatever form you can. Send it, put it on comments on DK Pittsburgh Sports. Put it in the comments under the YouTube video of this show. I don't know, skywrite it or something, but let me know why this is. And understand, I'm not like Canada bashing or whatever. Anybody who knows me knows I love Canada. But man, what a trait this is. I appreciate everybody, including Jason, getting this show rolling today, and we will have another one of them tomorrow.